Good morning, everybody. Just having some nice hot chocolate with some mint extract in it. It is a beautiful winter morning here in southeast Idaho. I am your host, LDS Prepper, and I am here to answer any of your preparedness questions. Good morning, Moto 450R. Hello. And so as you're joining here, thanks for the thumbs up already. If you have a question, it's easy for me to find the questions if you put, good morning, Monty. Good to see you. If you put the word question in all capitals in front of your question, then as you guys are chatting back and forth and sharing information, I can skip past the chat so you guys can have your conversation there, and I can get directly to the questions that people have. So if you have any questions on geothermal, off-grid living, food storage. Oh, by the way, I did mention that we had one number 10 can sealer machine available last week on my at ldsprepperstore.com. That has been sold, so I apologize, or I'm sorry if it isn't available when you go there, because we had one left and it is now gone. So, but we still do have the LDS Prepper Premium Micronutrient Mix there. We also have the Mittleider Gardening Course books that I personally sign before they go out. And then we have my wife's digital and physical herb books available at ldsprepperstore.com. Great way to get some super resources for your preparedness. And of course, the heirloom seeds, which are filled a lot of orders last week for the heirloom seeds. It's going to be very, very important to get your heirloom seeds as soon as possible and put them in the ground and start growing. So MB has a question. How are you storing your potatoes? I am not storing my potatoes very well. They are in my basement, and I put them in the darkest place. There is no direct sunlight in there, and I still have sprouts coming up through my potatoes. So I do need to work on storage. I thought I would try that this year to see what I could do to store them. I pretty much what I've decided is that because I have my quail in the garage and I keep a thermometer in the garage. As a matter of fact, I can show you here. So I can track the thermometer, the temperatures in the garage, and the temperature hasn't ever gotten into freezing. I use the Lacrosse mobile alerts, my greenhouse temperatures, my quail, the back porch, and so I'm just going to see what the quail temperature is right now. It's 31 degrees and 37 degrees in the garage. It's an uninsulated garage, and it is 29 degrees in the back porch, just to my left here. So what I've decided to do and what I would recommend is keep them above freezing, but keep them dark. So next year I will take the potatoes during the winter and store them in the garage. I don't have to buy anything. I don't have to build anything. I would just put them in a box and close them down so that they don't get light on them. They should have some air circulation around them though. So hopefully that helps you, and maybe you can come up with better solutions. Really, the best thing for me to do is probably just dig a hole and, put them in basically a root cellar, and that would work the best. Let's see. Good morning, David, my wonderful longtime online prepping friend. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. MB says, yes, no basements here in Florida. Yeah, okay, so you have a different situation than I do. Certainly, Florida is going to be a problem. everything would sprout there. What I have seen people do is take old refrigerators or even chest freezers, bury them in the ground, put a pipe in one end to let the air in and a pipe on the other end to let the air out, and that helps with the air circulation, keeps them dark, it's insulated, and that may work well in Florida. Please let us know if you find a solution for that. That's very good. SJ Mullen is saying good morning from Western Maryland. Good morning. Yes, it is a little bit cold here, but you know, when you're dressed appropriately, it's just like you wouldn't wear what I'm wearing now to the beach in Florida today because you'd be crazy hot. But here, I'm just completely comfortable. We've got the wood burning stove running here. Actually, just let me show you. Kind of crazy walking around my house with my laptop here. Hopefully you guys can see this. But here's a wood burning stove. This little guy heats the whole house. And you can see this is a Englander 15-inch stove. You can hear that it has the fan blowing on it. It blows all the heat into the house for us. We have about a 3,200 square foot house. Half of that's downstairs. And this is blowing into the kitchen over here. So what I've done, since our offices are down the hallway, I've actually got a fan here that blows, and I've got a fan up here that blows, and that pushes the air down the hallway to make it nice and comfortable. I just got that lit. So right now in the house, it's 71 degrees. So it was 81 degrees in the house the other day, and that's when it's way too hot for me. But anyway, so it's nice and comfortable in here. One of the things that I had to consider when I moved to Idaho was, how am I going to stay warm? Wasn't really a concern in Texas. We could throw on a couple extra layers of clothes in winter, and we were good. Here, what I have in our off-grid property, homestead, I guess is what it's becoming, is we have this 15-inch Englander, highly efficient wood-burning stove upstairs. I know that you can buy them back east. You can just drive to the manufacturer and pick them up, no freight. I think they were either $500 or $800 picking them up. I think they were $5 something. And then downstairs, I have the 18-inch Englander stove that heats up the whole downstairs. I mean, it was 91 degrees sitting at the couch. I put the thermometer on the couch when we first get that stove installed and had the blower turned on, and it was 91 degrees on the sofa. So if we want to cool things down, we just turn the blower off. So that works out really well. Okay, Brad Howard is in the house. Good morning, Brad. Good to see you. SJ Mullen says, my potatoes have been storing well in the basement in cardboard boxes. That's really good to know. This is great information. I love you guys posting this here. It becomes part of this broadcast. Other people can come back and read your comments and find it very helpful. My potatoes are still turnable underground. Okay, very good. And good morning from Colorado. Nice wood burning stove. Thank you. Shenandoah name brand wood stove is also a fantastic product if you can find them. Yes. The stove that we got downstairs, we could not find in Utah. We could not find in Idaho. I had to drive 5 hours to Wyoming to pick one up for me and one for my brother-in-law. We drove over together. And I tell you what, it was worth the drive. We used so little wood in that stove compared to the big stove that we had down there. It's incredible. We probably used half or a third of the wood, maybe even a quarter. I mean, it's significant to heat the whole downstairs. So that's going to help reduce the cost of the firewood that I have cut and delivered. And it's going to help reduce the amount of storage we have to have. So I'm all about return on investment, ROI. That's kind of the bottom line. And those are those were good purchases for us. Like our solar panel system. Love the solar panel, the geothermal greenhouses, Berkey water filter, which you can see right there. By the way, Berkey will have stock inventory Monday. Monday is when I'm filling all the orders for my customers. If you want to Berkey now and don't want to have to wait weeks, it's been 2-3 weeks since they've had stock inventory. Place your order today at ldsprepperstore.com, or at least no later than Sunday night, and I will have that order placed Monday for you. It'll probably be shipped Tuesday, and you'll have it by Friday or Saturday next week. You don't have to worry about any discount coupons. I've already have the lowest prices on there for you. I ship anywhere in the United States, except for I can't ship to California or Iowa directly. But get on there and get your Berkey water filter system, my most important prep that I have, besides my mental optimism for preparedness. Okay, so I saw some other questions come up here. Here's from a Moto 450R. What source do you determine what seed flat soil temperature should be for germination of various vegetables? Mittleider book only gives a general range. It's a great question. So let's just back that off. And this is what I try to do with myself as I'm investigating and learning, and with others. And that is, what causes a seed to germinate? Or what causes a seed not to germinate? Well, it's temperature and moisture. So if you have warm soil and there's moisture in that soil, there's nothing you can do to stop that seed from germinating other than, deliberately sabotage the soil. So the warm soil and moisture is all it takes to get a seed to germinate. I would not worry so much about soil temperature. If you're germinating and you're in a seed flat, what we like to do, and the best I have seen, and we tested this last year, saw a big difference last year, where my sister did all her germination under grow lights in a room in her house. We did the same germination under grow lights in the greenhouse, the geothermal greenhouse, and my sister plants were 5 times the size, the seedlings, as our plants in the greenhouse. The only difference was the temperature of the soil. So I would say temperature, the warmer the temperature up to say 75, 85 degrees, is going to help the germination, and it's going to help the plant grow. It's also very, very, very critical that you have as much light on those seedlings once they break the soil, to give them, so they can do photosynthesis and start processing the food that's in the soil, because you put in the weekly feed and the pre-plant in the soil. The nutrients are there, but without that photosynthesis, that plant cannot process the nutrients. So having the lights there are very, very important. I had a couple LED grow light manufacturers contact me last year, and I forgot to get back to them, and I've looked for their contact information so I could share it with you guys, but I don't have that. So if they contact me, if I get some LED grow lights, I will share that information with you. But the more light you can get on those plants, the better. And nice warm soil. Just even in the house, if you just have it in the house, it's going to make a big difference than if you have it in the garage or in the basement. So warm soil will really help. Learn how to vent your wood stove at different times of the day and use different types of wood for day, night, or morning. Now, this particular stove, one thing I really like about the Inklitter, it actually is plumbed so you can bring in cold air from outside. And that really helps in the burning process, and you get a much cleaner, hotter burn when you're bringing fresh air in from outside. I actually thought about running like dryer duct tubing through the walls and put a vent outside like you would have for a dryer vent to do that. So what we do, how we build our fire, and I actually made some videos that I haven't edited, but hopefully will do. And that is we have some pine paneling from my daughter's house. I take that pine paneling, my wife has cut it down to size, and I just split it with a hatchet and make kindling. Then I purchased with our wood, I purchased medium wood, which would be pine, soft. Pine would be considered soft. It burns really fast, leaves a lot of soot. And then I bought hardwood. Poplar is considered a hardwood. Oak is a hardwood. And so we put in paper first. I don't know if you saw, there's a little storage below the stove there. And anytime we have 8.5 by 11 paper, instead of throwing it away, we reuse it, put it right into the stove. I take for this particular stove, take 15 pieces of paper. This is how anal retentive I am. I take 15 pieces of paper, wad it up. I put 4 pieces of pine paneling that I've split into kindling, put that on there. Then I take 4 pieces of medium wood, so not softwood, not hardwood, and use that as the tinder. And so I'm making a little stack like this. They call it chimney fire. And then I put my hardwood, the poplar or the oak or whatever it is, on top of that and light that up, leave a little crack in the door so air can go in and light that paper, or catch that paper and catch the pine on fire, which catches the tinder on fire, which catches the fuel on fire, and it works really great. So we primarily just burn hardwood for the fuel, and we use the other woods to get the hardwood started. So yes, it makes a big difference when you're buying wood that you know what kind of wood you're buying, because you can spend the guy that delivers my wood, $150 a cord for softwood or hardwood. Doesn't make any difference. He doesn't charge any difference. I bought 1 cord of medium wood because I already have the pine for the softwood for the kindling, and then I bought 7 cords or 8 cords of hardwood. Okay, let's see. Good morning. Let's see. Good morning, Nick. Hello from Houston. Garden Variety Bees. Excellent. Doc McDonald. Pound Big Dog Solar. I really have to say, if you're in the Idaho, Utah area, call the guys at Big Dog Solar. My experience is they know what they're doing. They installed my system, did a great job. Mike is, I don't know if this Doc Mike is from Big Dog Solar, but because I can't see the picture, but I'm very happy with them. Very, very happy. If you're looking for solar, matter of fact, I was going to mention that today. We expanded our solar panel system from 5K to 16K. And we did that last year when the federal rebate was 30%. I believe it is this year's 26%. And then next year it's going to go down to like 20, and then it's going to go away. So if you're thinking about getting solar and you want to get a nice big check back from the IRS for being more self-reliant, being better prepared for a grid down situation, then get it as soon as possible. Of course, we have solar backup we have battery backup in our solar system. I'm just debating, you know what? Would you guys like me to walk you downstairs and show you our solar setup that we have in the basement so you can see the inverters and the charge controllers and the battery bank and how we have that set up? If you do, give me a thumbs up in the notes and we can walk down there. But anyway, so now's a good time. It's going to be better this year to get solar than it is going to be last year. So when we get our solar, we get the 30% federal rebate, and then we get the 20% tax incentive here in Idaho, which took $20,000 off of our state taxes over a 4-year period. If possible, order a replacement set of filters when you get your Berkey water filter, just to make sure you have them when you need them in the future. Excellent comment. This is our Berkey water filter system here. We're on well. We have, would be the healthiest water around. I even have test kits here to test my well water. But we run all of our drinking water, all of our consumable water through the Berkey, even though we don't have to worry about the pharmaceuticals that may be in city water. We don't have to worry about chlorine. We don't have to worry about fluoride. We don't have to worry about a lot of those other things. But I still want to make sure, because heavy metals and arsenic are natural in the environment, and I want to make sure that those get filtered out. So I just, after last week's call, a friend came over who purchased a Berkey. She lives in Idaho Falls, and she came over here, and we actually videotaped assembling the Berkey from A to Z. And so I will get that video up and posted so you can see how to put it together. It was very quick. She thought it was going to be much more complicated. It's very straightforward. Everything's easy when you know how to do it. So I will post that up for you. But what I was going to say is that my wife and I have 2 Berkey filters in there, and that filters the water fast enough for us. And then we have extras on in our food storage. They don't have a shelf life. They're not going to go bad on you because the way that they're constructed. They're called Berkey Black Elements for a reason, because there are different elemental properties in that black Berkey filter that keeps it from going bad. That absolutely happens to all ceramic filters and any other filters that happen to get wet. Because once you get a filter wet, then the bacteria can start growing in that filter. That is not the case with the black Berkey filters. So when you go to ldsprepperstore.com and you do order a Berkey, you can order it with 2 or 4 or as many as 6 filters, or you can just add extra filters to your order. It's a very smart thing to happen, because if one of the granddaughters knocks this off, or I knock it off, or something happens to it, when we go camping, we take it with us. And one of those filters breaks, then we would want to have another one with us. Now, in addition to that, let me just grab this filter here. And I've taken this all over the world. This has been with me in China. I have my name on here because this means it's mine, and my wife has her own. So this has been with us in China, in Russia, in Salt Lake City, in San Diego. When we leave the house and we're going to be gone, backpacking, of course, but camping, this is what we take. And it's exactly the same filter as the big Berkey filter right here, just smaller, so it doesn't do as many gallons. But I've had this for 10 years, and because I don't use it every day, it lasts a long time. Just so you know, because I know Monty has some of these, when I get done, like I just came back from, where did I come? Oh, we were in Tahiti. We took these when we were in Tahiti. When we came back from Tahiti, I just opened this up. I blew into here, forcing any water in this filter out. We let it sit on the counter for a couple days to air dry. Then I just make sure the inside of the bottle is dry, put it back inside the bottle, and I close it down, and we store it in our pantry here. So highly recommend that. Great filtration, and just scoop up any source water. Even removes radiation, just like the big filters do. And you know that you're drinking safe water. My son and daughter-in-law are in San Diego, and they had a water warning, boil your water. And she texted me, said, "Dad, is it okay to drink the Berkey water?" I said, "Absolutely, perfectly fine to drink the Berkey water." They just ran their water through the Berkey water filter, didn't have to boil it, and had no problems while all the neighbors were having to boil it. Oh, we got a lot of thumbs up. So we will go down to the basement to check out the solar. Let's see. Are you using heating mats to increase soil temps in the greenhouse? Yes, we are. And even with the heating mats, my sister's plants were at least 5 times bigger. And that's because of the ambient temperature. Now, when my wife grew the seedlings last year on the heating mats in the greenhouse, she didn't put plastic over the seedlings. I would recommend doing that because that will create a kind of a terrarium and keep the the ambient temperature, not just the soil temperature, but the ambient temperature around the seedlings warmer, and help with the plant growth. So I have a video on that, how to build a little seedling table, or just use something to drape plastic over the seedling flat to increase the temperature. Okay. One resource is the Mittleider gardening method. Yes, absolutely. It says, Doc Michael says, Madrona and eucalyptus hardwood for me in North California. Yes, that would be really good. I will use a large log overnight and bring the fire back in the morning. Yep, you can absolutely do that. What we've found here, because once we got the stove, it's like, okay, we don't need to use propane. I'm trying to be as efficient as I can. We have multiple ways to heat the house. We now have the wood burning stove. We have the propane furnace. We have a kerosene heater, and we have electric wall heaters that run off the solar. So I want to be warm. Plus we have layered clothing like I have here, which is way too hot right now. So what we learned here in Idaho is that the first time I shut off the propane furnace, didn't need it because we had the wood burning stove. The house was nice and warm, but the water pipes froze. So we now keep the furnace set at 65 degrees so that it does kick on, because our water pipes go through the furnace room here, and that keeps them from freezing. So I've insulated that room better and keep the furnace on for that purpose. So these are things that you don't know until you actually do it. Because I thought, hey, wood burning stove, we're all set, good to go, we're golden, we are prepared. And then my wife couldn't get any water out of the pipes. That's why I say, when you get a Berkey, use it. When you get a ham radio, use it. When you get, whatever, if you get a wheat grinder, use it. If you get beans that you're storing, then learn how to cook them. Don't wait and store it for the event. Get the skill, get the experience, and then it's just an event, not an emergency. Okay, David, are you growing vegetables outside your greenhouse any longer? Did you like you did your corn a few years back? We are not. We have 2 geothermal greenhouses right now. We grow everything in there. It's lovely. We could take a walk out there, show you what is going on in there. I did that a week or so ago. But we grow everything in the greenhouse. We had a discussion. My wife and I had a discussion a few weeks ago, and I will be growing this season, and she will be processing the food. Our goal is to eat our food fresh. We have plenty of food storage. So she does canning. We do put food away, but we're trying to get grow only as much as we need to eat. The 4 boxes we have in the greenhouse grows way more food than my wife and I can eat. So we have 1 box, 30-foot box, that is just in strawberries. We love that. And we actually never eat all the strawberries, not even close to all the strawberries that grow in there. So we're growing all the strawberries we need. I've got the north box, 30-foot box. They're all 30-foot boxes. It was all in potatoes last year. That was way more potatoes. I mean, wow. I didn't think it was going to be enough, but way more potatoes than I could eat by myself. And we use them occasionally for other things. My wife will eat some too on occasion. So we're trying to minimize actually what we're growing, so we're not wasting food. And so when the first year that we grew in here, in the 4-foot wide boxes, which I don't recommend and I don't use and I hate. Okay, they're just too difficult to work in. I took the 4-foot wide box out and replaced it with 2 18-inch wide boxes, which is much easier to work. But in that 4-foot by 30-foot box, the first year that we grew here, I weighed all the produce, and we grew 2,000 pounds of produce in 4 feet by 30 feet. 2,000 pounds. That was tomatoes and squashes and carrots and lettuces and peppers and peas and, all the kind of regular stuff that you would grow. So when you're using a method that is designed for high nutrition, high health, and high production, like the Mittleider gardening method that you'll find in this book here, then you can grow a lot of food with very little effort in a very small space. Now, key to that is, of course, the micronutrients that you can get at LDS Prepper Store. Free shipping on all orders of 8 or more. A lot of you took advantage of that last week. Very smart. Then you don't have to have a lot of space to grow food. So we are only growing inside that greenhouse. This year, I'm actually doing some experimenting in the greenhouse. So we'll probably be growing a little bit more than we can consume. But we don't grow anything outside of the greenhouse. That way, if a hail's, we've been here 6 years, and I think 2 or 3 years out of those 6 years, my neighbors' gardens have been decimated with hailstorms once their plants were up and they were growing. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about a freak freeze coming through. It's just a lot more convenient for us to grow, and we're growing plenty of food for ourselves here on the homestead in just the 20 by 40 greenhouse. So if we want some corn, we would probably, if I wanted corn, I would grow it in the greenhouse. As a matter of fact, Sue, do we want corn this year? Do you want me to plant corn? She's thinking about it. See, she's thinking, all right, are we going to eat it all? Do we have room in the, you're thinking, do we have room in the chest freezer? Yeah, by the way, so we might, and just so I can show you that it grows in the greenhouse, I would put it in the third box. We have 4 boxes, and I would put it in the third box closest to the north side of the greenhouse, because so it doesn't shadow things on the south side. It would shadow things on the north side, but I can't plant it on the further box to the north because the greenhouse curves over and it wouldn't fit. I could do it in my new greenhouse because I have straight vertical walls, which I love. I think that's the way to go. If you're going to build a greenhouse, 6-foot straight vertical walls is a great way to go. I was going to tell you that we had elk hamburgers last night. Amazing, amazing, melt in your mouth. It was from the elk that I harvested this last year, and we mixed it with some Jimmy Dean sausage and ground it together. And my wife, for the first time, we had our elk burgers this week, and they were great, very, very clean, no gristle. It was awesome. So if you have a chance to get an elk, I live in prime elk country, an hour from my house, and we are hunting elk. So let's see, I'm not from Big Dog Solar, but I totally appreciate what Trevor and you went through when you documented your solar build for your property. All right, thanks. Thanks, Doc. Michael. There is a Michael at Big Dog Solar. And if you want to ask for Michael, I think he still sells solar there. You can call Big Dog if you're in the area and ask for Michael. Tell him that David Gilmore sent you. Okay, so we have lots of people wanting to see the solar. Can you be self-reliant if you have solar, batteries, and generator? Javier 0304. Yes, absolutely. My brother lives on 25 acres in Hawaii, completely off-grid, beautiful home. He's going to, he and his wife moved there to be by his father-in-law in his older years. He was unhealthy, and they are actually probably be coming back to the mainland. So if you are looking for a gorgeous house off-grid on beautiful property in Hilo, send me an email, david@ldsprepper.com, and I will get you in touch with my brother. It's not on the market yet, so you'll probably get a really good price on it. And he's meticulous in his work. He built the house himself. It's completely off-grid. He does have a backup generator. It's solar. He's got a water retention system. It's beautiful property. If you're thinking about buying a property to live in Hawaii, or if you want to buy property and have it as a Airbnb, something like that, let me know and I will get you hooked up. All right, so let's go down in the basement. I've never done this before, but and I don't know what the lighting is going to be, but I'll show you our setup. So I'm going to unplug the laptop here and see if we can walk downstairs. Okay. This house looks completely different than when we bought it. My wife has really personalized it. We finished it downstairs. The downstairs is completely built to be in its own apartment. This is the stove that I was mentioning to you earlier. This is the new. This is the English stove, and you can see here on the side it has the blowers. So this gets really hot. You can cook on it. There's another thing that I like on this stove is that we cannot cook on the one on top because the vent on the stove upstairs is here, and so this doesn't get hot enough to cook. But on this one, the vents are on the side, and so we can cook on here. And so when we do have water in here, when we do have the fire burning, we do have water in this pot. You can see the minerals that we have in the water here. And so that heats up all downstairs, works really good. My wife is an herbalist, so her handle is the backyard herbalist, but this is the backdoor herbal apothecary that she has down here. She, if you need something, the granddaughters know to come in here and grab some cayenne. They're all, or some lemon balm or whatever it is, mullein leaf, to help with any problems that they might have. So let's turn this on. And here is our system. I don't know if you're going to see it very well. We have an Outback inverter and charge controllers. Certified by the county. When we had it installed and inspected, they said it was the best install that they had ever seen. This is the Outback Mate 3S, and right now we are generating, I don't know if you can see that, we are generating 1.25 kilowatts of power. We are using 1.3 kilowatts of power, and we're pulling 100 watts from the grid. So it's converting from DC to AC, so we have a little loss, and so it looks like we need about 100 watts from the grid. You can see that this little icon here is the grid symbol, so we have power coming into the grid. We have power coming from the solar to the batteries. The batteries are always charged. That's the highest priority. Then they go to the load. And then when we generate more power than we need, then it goes out to the grid. And so probably it was still very overcast today, but hopefully by the end of this broadcast, I can show you that when we sell. And you're not going to be able to see this very well, but I will grab my everyday carry, handy dandy OLight light right here. I keep this in my pocket. My son, he was carrying, he has a different OLight. This is nice and small. I like it a lot because it has this backwards clip, so I can just clip it on the bill of my baseball cap, especially when we're out hunting and moving around, or I'm crawling around and I need to have light, and I didn't bring a headlight or a flashlight. I just clip this right here on my bill of my cap, and it works great. Has a clip here, and it also has, that's aluminum. You need to find something that's metal. And it also has a magnet on it right here, so it'll just can stick on something. And it has a rechargeable battery. I'm not sponsored by or anything like that, but by OLight, but this is the light that I carry, and I really, really like it. It's very handy. So it also has 3 different brightnesses here. You can see.
All right, so this one is generating 4.2 amps. This is generating, and this is on the west side. So even it's pointing due west, it's generating power right now. This is on the east side, generating 4.4 amps. This is putting out 7.5 amps in power. This is putting out 7.3 amps. This is we have some that are have panels on the east and west and are wired together. So this is generating power too, not as much as the others. This is due south. Hopefully you can see this. I don't know if the light helps or not. This is generating power due south and due south. So the panels actually that are facing east are generating more power than the panels facing south. And then over here, I will have an interview with this product here. This is EMPShield. The thing that I am preparing for, if there was one thing, is for an EMP, electrical magnetic pulse. This here is wired into my panel, which we have a transfer switch on here because we have solar. And this will protect everything that's plugged into an outlet in our house. This will clamp down before an EMP will damage anything through the electrical lines, because the power grid acts like a great big antenna and will send all that energy through in a nanosecond and fry everything that's electronic in the house. So this is designed to stop that. Highly recommend getting one. If you go to EMPShield.com/LDS prepper, you'll get a very generous discount. I don't make any commission there. That discount is for you. But I will be doing a full review on this. I completely believe in their technology. The military uses it. So just go to the website, get more information. I will be interviewing somebody from EMPShield.com and going over the technology for all of us who like to geek out on that. This is our circuit breaker box, and because we have, like I mentioned, the solar, then we have this transfer switch to keep it safe so it doesn't backfeed accidentally into the grid. So hopefully that helps you there. And that's the setup right here. Almost missed this. This is the battery. This is a sealed battery compartment. I have lead acid batteries in here. We talked about batteries last week. If you missed that conversation, go back and take a look at that. But I would not get lead acid batteries again. But the lithium iron batteries wasn't developed to the point that I was when we bought this 6 years ago. So we have lead acid. I have to fill it up with water. So what I have here is I have my water. And I don't know if I can set this up to show you. Hopefully I can. Let me set this over here. And I'll show you how I take care of my batteries. So I tried several different things. I've been meaning to do videos on these, but I haven't because it takes so long for me to edit. So I'll just show you live. This is the advantage of you guys wanting these live calls. I tried this to, this is actually has batteries in it and has a motor, and I could fill the battery cells this way. This is not strong enough. Bought this at Harbor Freight. I'm sure there are others brands, but this is not strong enough to pump the water. Then I also have a bulb pump that came with the system that works great, but it just, I mean, if you want to exercise your hand, this is the way to do it. It takes a lot of time to do this. What I do have in the system is I have one hose that comes in, and this connects to all of the batteries in here. We have 16 batteries. It's a 41 kilowatt hour battery bank, 860 amp hours, and it's a 48 volt bank for all of us who like to geek out on the details. But we replaced the battery caps. This was recommended by Big Dog. I didn't even know that this was available. And we have this hose goes into all the battery caps. And then what I have found that works really the best is this little hand pump. Also get this at Harbor Freight. You can get this at any big box store. And this works really, really well. I will just take and put the pump hose in here, right there. And now I am filling up all of my batteries simultaneously with water. So I do a little chest exercises here, and usually takes me about a gallon or less to fill this up. I try to do this monthly, and I keep distilled water on hand. I also have a water distiller, an electric one, which takes lots and lots of power. And I would need to distill that twice before I put it in the batteries. I don't know if you can see the water level. I probably can't, but the water level is going down in this distilled water. And so now all the batteries are being filled up. The cells are being filled up. But one of the people, now that they're all full, okay? We just hit it. It won't push anymore. So now all 16 batteries are completely full of water. It took maybe 3/4 of a gallon, which is just about right to be doing this monthly. And then I just set this back up here and let this drain out a little bit. And it's ready for the next time. And that's how I take care of the batteries. If I had lithium iron batteries, not lithium ion, but lithium iron, and if I had Simplify brand lithium ion batteries, I would never have to do that. And they have 10,000 cycles. These have 500 cycles. So basically a cycle is a day of use. And I've had these now for 6 years. The gentleman from Big Dog Solar who came back and expanded my system for me. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about turning my back to you when I hung that up. He had just recently gone back and worked with several other homes that he had installed their systems to 6 years ago. They were also on lead acid batteries, and they all had to replace all of their battery banks because all their batteries were dead. I have 16 batteries, as I mentioned, and I replaced one battery. And that is because of a great little device. It's called a Desulfator. You can get them on Amazon. I'll edit this video later and put a link down there for you. It'll be an affiliate link, and it'll get you the best price. There are different ones out there. But when they installed the battery bank for me, hopefully you guys enjoyed that personal walk down through the battery bank, the off-grid solar system. And if you have any questions about what you saw down there, just post them in the comments here. When they installed the battery bank for me originally 6 years ago, I asked them to install these desulfators. They were like $64, something like that, very inexpensive. And I explained to them that they would help keep the batteries from sulfating. So a lead acid battery works by the sulfuric acid coming in contact with the lead plates, and that actually creates electricity. But in that process, it leaves crystals on the lead plates, sulfuric acid crystals. And it's sort of like in an aquarium where you get that fungus buildup, and then what happens is the plate gets filled with crystals, and then the sulfuric acid cannot touch the lead, and then you have a dead battery cell. Well, a crystal, and I used to work at Radio Shack, so this totally made sense for me, and we sold crystals for crystal radios at Radio Shack back in the day. And the desulfator sends off a wavelength that matches the crystal wavelength and causes the crystals not to form on the lead plates. So 6 years later, I saved thousands of dollars, probably $5,000 to $10,000 on the batteries, because I only had to replace one battery. And the other people
that the technician went and worked with how to replace all their batteries. So they were really skeptical of, because they didn't understand the tech. I mean, I explained it to them, but they had never seen it. But he said, now I can tell people for sure that the desulfators work. So if you have lead acid batteries and you want them to last a long time, I highly recommend getting the desulfator. And it saved 64. I bought 2 of them because I have 2, 1 battery bank, but 2 runs, however you want to phrase that. And it worked. So I was glad that I understood the technology. I actually had called the company and they kind of explained it to me. But sometimes you just have to trust people that it works. They installed it because I wanted to, and I was the customer. And now that he can testify that it does work. And that's why I have this channel, so I can share these kind of things with you. Something, you can spend $150 on these 2 sulfators and save thousands. And that's what I try to do and try to help other people do. Okay. Let's see. Doc Michael says, I was very grateful 8 years ago when David and I both came to the same water filter conclusions, and we've both been using Berkey filters since then. Yes. Can you get the water bottle past the gates of air travel? Yes. We have to take the water out, or we don't put water in. Once we get past this security, then we just go to a water fountain and fill this up. Now, one thing we found when we went to Tahiti, that where you would put your face down and drink from the water, that was shut off, but the part of the water filter, the water faucet in the airports where you could fill your own bottle was on. So we were able to fill these up. All the airports were like that, so I just go in the men's bathroom and fill it up underneath the faucet in the men's bathroom, and never worried about getting sick from the water. Now, Tahiti, by the way, has great water. So really, I wouldn't be concerned if I were traveling in. We stayed on the island called Moorea. Beautiful, beautiful island, great people. And they have very healthy water. So I wouldn't worry about that. But if you have any concerns at all, take your Berkey. I certainly was worried about it in Russia. Russians don't drink their tap water. Chinese don't drink their tap water. And I just don't drink tap water, period. I just always filter it. Okay. Redneck Prepper says, I would like to see your greenhouse heater. Okay. So I'm not sure. I don't have a heater in my greenhouse. I have a fan and a geothermal system. Because of the time today, we won't go through the greenhouse, but I'd be glad to go through the greenhouse next week for you if you'd like to do that. So, and just show you where we are on that. John mentions here, found the 5-tube grow light heat seat bed soil, have to raise lights up to not overheat the soil. Like to keep the soil at 80 degrees. 80 degrees would be plenty warm. And as I mentioned last week on our calls, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you would do me a big favor, please give me a thumbs up on this video so other people can find the video. It helps with the algorithms on YouTube. So go ahead and hit that like button. And if this information is good for you, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification button so that you know when I'm going live and when I upload a new video. But like I mentioned last week, when our plants are growing, we have our lights down as close as we can to the plants without damaging the plants. So as the plants grow, we raise the lights. So if you want to put the heat mat underneath the soil, to help them germinate and help them grow, that's great. And then have the light above. We don't use the light above really for heat, although it does put out heat. We use it for energy for the plant so they can create photosynthesis. So 5-tube grow light heats. Yes, I think we have 6 tubes. We will be converting from the tubes to LED. I've done a lot of research on that. And because we're off grid, it's going to be take a lot less electricity to generate the same amount of energy for the plant. So we will be converting to that. Hopefully there's some grow light companies that would like me to do a review on their products, and I can share those with you. I always like to, when companies reach out to me and ask me to do reviews, I always like to do those reviews, and I tell them up front, hey, if it's a bad product, I'm going to say it's a bad product, or I'll tell you that I don't like it, and you can let me know whether you want me to do the review or not. But that, to me, that's a smart company. That's a company who's listening to the consumer, somebody who's willing to send product out and have it tested and not know what the review is going to turn out to be. So I like working with those companies. Let's see. Will Shelly, Idaho have their Readiness conference this year? That's a great question. It takes us about 6 months to put that conference together. We usually have it in February, so that's right now. So we're not going to have it this year, although there are two really been really good conferences here in Idaho. One here has been here in Shelly, Southeast Idaho Falls, and the other has been a little bit further north, up Rigby, I believe it is. And both of those have been really, really good. They usually have theirs in the fall. We usually have ours in the spring. So maybe they will have one in the fall. I don't know. But I have a pretty good feeling that we'll probably have one here locally next year in 2022. Which is better payoff for geothermal, geo-air greenhouse? More linear feet of pipe closer together horizontally, or increasing space between the pipes with less linear feet, but still meeting the minimal 15%? Which is a better payoff for a geothermal greenhouse? More linear feet of pipe closer together horizontally. Okay, I think I understand the question. So what I would do, Brad, and thanks for the question, is I would have, let me just give you the minimums. I would have my pipes at least 12 inches apart horizontally and vertically. So if I'm serpentining my pipes back and forth on one level, I would make sure that I've got 12 inches of space in between the pipe as it comes around. Because how it works is that the soil is going to have a certain temperature, and the air coming through that pipe is really going to be pulling that heat from the soil as it passes by. So you want as much soil in between the pipes as possible. I would say that in any environment that I can think of, 15% of the cubic space of your greenhouse in linear pipe length is sufficient. And I wouldn't, I was recommended 10%. And through personal experience, I would say 15% is really will be sufficient for you. So if you're going to end up with more pipe, that's great. But 12 inches in between and 12 inches between layers, and you're good to go. That's what I would say. I've been using about 100 cubic feet growing area. Okay, does that keep pests off the corn? Let's see. Does that keep pests off the corn? The greenhouse does keep pests off. It does limit the number of insects we get. The only insects we had problems with last year were ants in the greenhouse and grasshoppers. Other than that, we didn't have any problems at all. And diatomaceous earth takes care of both of those. So that works. Let's see. Is LDS Prepper a hippie from the 60s and the 70s? It's not LSD Prepper. It's LDS Prepper. So I love that line in Star Trek, Going Home, or what it was, when the captain says, yeah, he had too much LDS in the 60s. That was really funny. So my visit to my friends in Blackfoot, Idaho, and they tell me to come elk hunting. That's awesome. Definitely do that. Let's see. So Billy Bird says he hasn't had much success with OLights. He says OLights suck. Army Tech is the bestest. Great. I would recommend getting a pocket light. Find out what works for you. I've had this OLight here on my body every day, 7 days a week for probably 4 years, and it has not failed me once. And I am constantly amazed on how well it works. If there's a different brand that you like, great. I really like this one. And what I've noticed is we were backpacking out one night late elk hunting 2 years ago, and the battery was getting low, so it went from the setting that I had and it dropped down to the next setting to conserve the battery and keep producing light. That's awesome. That technology is built into the battery. And so it was quite a long hike out, and then it had dropped down to the next lower level, and I had light all the way out to the truck, where if I didn't have that technology built in that OLight, I would have been in the dark, because it would have ran until on that setting until the light had gone out. I wasn't aware, obviously, of what the battery condition was, and I would have been in the dark. I did have a backup light, so I could have used, but if I didn't, I would have been in the dark. So find one that works. The point is, there's different things that I like, and there may be different things that you like. Great. There's Fords and Chevys, and I'm a Chevy guy, and my son's a Ford guy. So they both have wheels, and they take us from point A to B. Let's see. Sorry, let's see, lost my spot here. Lots of comments here. All right. I am going to mark the last comment right now. And so that I know where to stop, because we're at the hour mark here, and I respect you guys' time. Appreciate your time with me. Hopefully this time is well spent for you. Says, I would never suggest a China product. Okay. That would be interesting. I've thought a lot about that, and I really like American-made products. That would be interesting if we went through our house and removed everything that was made from China. I think you wouldn't have any electronics. You wouldn't have, for example, we wouldn't have that microwave. We wouldn't have that stove. We probably wouldn't have any of the lights that we have in the house. So I hear you. I understand what you're saying, and we may. That would be an interesting experience to see how much we spend and how much we support that economy over there. Let's see. But the EMP will take down the grid, making your electronics useless. Anyways, Billy Bird. Okay, so now I'm understanding Billy Bird a little bit better. EMP. Oh, okay, Billy. All right. Thanks for your comments here. Just appreciate you being here. If you don't understand technology, then of course you're going to say it's not going to work and it's a scam. And I get that. Newton explained gravity. People didn't understand gravity, but it was still a reality. Just because they didn't understand it doesn't mean that gravity isn't real. So do your own research. If you, I highly recommend the EMP Shield, EMPShield, and go to EMPShield.com. Look through the material there. Watch the videos there. I will have them on the call, and we will go over the technology. And if you're not comfortable with that, that's perfectly fine. I have EMP Shield on my AC power coming in from the grid. I'm having it installed this Thursday separately for my solar power. So I will have DC EMP Shield protecting all my charge controllers and inverters. And I'm installing it on my vehicle. I'll also get it on my ham radio. So I think it's worth the money. Otherwise, I wouldn't be spending the money on the product, and I wouldn't be recommending it. If I find that it doesn't work, I would tell you. But just like the guy that installed my battery bank, and he thought I was kind of, well, whatever. The customer wants this desulfator put on the batteries. We'll put it on to make him happy. Now, after 6 years, says absolutely this works because it's proven. I mean, he literally went to 6 other houses, replaced all their batteries. They were installed the same time as mine, and I only had one battery that was bad. So no problem there. Do your own research and do what is best for you. I think we all do what we think will make us happy. Okay, so someone says, awesome. Indie Groove, I think is the name. Can show name a book again. Oh, so the name of the book, okay, is the Mittleider Gardening Course book. This is my wife is a master gardener. This $20 book placed literally, no exaggeration, $1,000 worth of gardening books that she had as a master gardener. When we moved from Houston, Idaho, she donated all those to Goodwill, and the only gardening book she kept was the Mittleider Gardening Course book. You can get this at ldsprepperstore.com. The other books, I don't know if you're referring to these. This is the first aid kit for medicinal herbs. You can get that at the LDS store. This is from my wife has written these manuals. Medicinal weeds, how to identify the medicinal weeds and harvest them. This is a great book. Culinary herbs and spices, how to use those herbs and spices. You know, we put them in our soups and our foods, but when you put them in is going to determine what kind of nutritional value you get from them. And then we have the Healer's Art and Making Herbal Remedies. Very, very popular book. Those are digital downloads and or physical products. So thank you for asking. All available at ldsprepperstore.com, which helps support the channel and encourages my wife to write more books and encourages me to find products that really resonate with you. Again, the only brand of seeds that I recommend are on my store, and you can get them shipped directly to you. There is shipping on the seeds because they do come, they are heavy. You get a lot of seeds. And someone said, well, I'll never use this many seeds. And let's hope that's the case. Let's really hope that's the case. But they have different size container of seed banks, all in metal cans, which are becoming very, very difficult to get, the ammo cans that they seal them in. Okay. Let's see. Have you checked into MPP solar all-in-one solar units? You can chain them up to 14 kilowatts and have single and dual phase. They're about $600 a piece. I'm not familiar with that. I do have a recommendation for portable solar generator on ldsprepperstore.com. There's a comparison chart to probably a dozen or more portable solar generators. And they talk about the chart that my son put together, lists all of the pros and cons. Of course, we have our favorite, and just go to ldsprepperstore.com, or you can go to ldsprepper.com/Titan and get more information on that. David, do you use a recirculating pump on your hot water line to get instant hot water? I do not do that. We just have a propane hot water tank. Not the best for sure. And I would like to have a point of use hot water, but we don't have that yet. Probably certainly something I want to look into. Question, is there a rule of thumb on how many hours the grow light should be on and off over seed flats indoors? Let me just put it this way. You can grow the exact same variety of plants here in Idaho and grow them in Alaska, and the plants will be substantially larger in Alaska than they will be here in Idaho. The difference is the number of daylight hours. So you can turn off the lights. Plants don't need to rest. But if you want to, turn off the lights. I know that on my quail, that if I have my lights turned on my quail 16 to 18 hours a day, they produce more eggs than if I don't. I know that if I have the grow lights turned on 16 to 18 hours or 24 hours a day, that they will grow more and produce more than, well, they're not producing fruit when they're seedlings, but grow more and be healthier and thicker than if I had less light on them. So I would say minimum 16 to 18 hours if you want to turn them off and save some electricity, but there's no harm in having them on 24/7. Celtech 1 is from Wales, UK. Thank you very much for dropping by. Keep the lights close to the plants, like I had mentioned, so they don't get leggy, and move them up so as the plants grow. Are there specific lights brand of LED that you would be switching to? Ted, thank you for asking. Like I mentioned, a couple companies have reached out to me on the LED grow lights. I did not respond back to them. My bad. If they will reach out to me again, I would and test the lights and give you recommendations, but I don't have one yet. All LEDs are not created equal. So do your research, look at the lumens, look at, I forget what it's called, K, whatever, the intensity and the type of light that puts out. So sorry, I don't have an answer for you. I try to, spend my money, spend my time, and do the research for you so that I have something that I can recommend. Can you just change grow light bulbs to LED, or do you need to get entirely new units? Do you need to get entirely new units? But there's always going to be somebody who will want the tube lights, so just put them on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and I'm sure somebody will buy those from you. Okay, what is your mother? Oh, that is my wife walking behind me. She's in the kitchen. What are your summer temps inside the greenhouse? Well, we have two different greenhouses. We're about ready to wrap up here. Got two different greenhouses, and the one with the roll-up sides, my latest one, probably gets around 85, maybe 90 at the hottest last year, as I had my temperatures, thermometers in there. Because we can roll up the sides and the air just moves through and keeps it nice and cool. The one with my original greenhouse that I made out of my own design, that is not a kit, that does not have the roll-up sides. We have 4 fans running in that during the summer, and we put shade cloth over the top to keep it from overheating, because it doesn't have the natural breeze going through it. So you want to keep your plants below 90 degrees. If you get above 90 degrees, then they go into stress and they will drop the seed, or they will drop their blossom. They will not produce well because they move into survival mode. And so do your best to keep the plants below 90 degrees. In Texas, I put a shade cloth. I didn't have a complete greenhouse. I had in the garden greenhouse, which I could roll up the sides, and those were great to have for especially the wind, to protect it from the wind that really stresses out plants, and also when it got really cold. Really cold is relative, right? But when it got cold in winter, January, February in Houston. Okay. Billy Bird says, why am I a troll? Well, I don't think you're a troll. I think you have a different perspective. That's perfectly fine. You're welcome here. As long as you're polite to people, you can have a different opinion. We have different religions. We have different cars. We have different places to live. We have different foods. That makes us great. Okay, if we were all the same, be milk toast. And I apologize for anybody who likes milk toast. My wife does. I don't. Okay, so let's see. I think we're at the end. It says I'm thankful to have at least 3 products from the EMPShield. Okay, good. Thank you very much for sharing that, Doc Michael. Doc Michael says, I am an amateur radio operator and I need a certain piece of equipment protected electronically every day, not just from a potential EMP solution. So go to ldsprepperstore.com and take a look at the EMP bags. I'll be right back. I'm going to grab mine. Well, I'll be right back. No, I'll just take you with me because I think it's just a little weird for me to walk away and you not see me in the camera. Like, what happened to him? So I'm just going to walk in here and I am going to show you down here. This is my ham radio setup I have here. But down here, you can see I've got my EMP bags. This is from Tech Protect. You can go to techprotect.com. And inside of there, I have another backup ham radio in here. This one has my portable solar generator. Back here, I have other electronics. And generally what I have is I have double bags. So this is a larger bag. And so I will put smaller EMP bags inside. It's called nesting. And this will protect against a super EMP. Now, I was just listening to a report yesterday that mentioned that China and Russia are more advanced in their EMP technology than the United States. And they can generate a super EMP. So a single EMP bag, those right there from techprotect.com, that's my son's company, in my personal opinion, are the best EMP bags manufactured at any price, literally at any price. It just so happens that my son has the company, and that's what I use to protect my property. I purchased those bags. I got a discount for my son. You might try discount code LDS Prepper when you go to that website and see if you get a discount. Anyway, I got a family discount. I'm going to plug my power back in. And that's what I use to protect my electronics all the time. If I'm not using it, it's in that bag. If I have a backup, it's in that bag, and it's double nested. So that's what I use. If you need something to protect it all the time, if you're worried about lightning strike on your ham radio antenna, ruining your ham radio equipment, then the EMPShield is what you want to have hooked up there all the time. Okay, I think someone says seeds double as a barter currency. Okay, that could be possible. Yep. If seeds are a barter item, then you're bartering with the right people, pretty much, because they understand that it's going to take weeks or months before they get food from those seeds, but they're willing to barter for them. And they're willing to grow their own food. Better than other things to barter, in my opinion, like alcohol. Okay, well, you can barter for alcohol, but I think being able to grow enough food to barter with it would be a really good thing to do too. Do they deliver to the UK? Yes, they delivered to the UK. So just go ahead and order them to the UK. If you can't, I'll refund you, but I don't think I'm set up on my store for UK. Send me a message at david@ldsprepper.com, or actually better yet, send me a message through the store for any out of the United States purchases, and I'll double check that for you. Sharing is caring. Coffee is a barter item too. Yep. Okay. Intensity lumens and colors kelvins. Thank you very much for in the groove. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. So intensity is lumens, color is Kelvin. So you want to get the right K kelvins for daylight. And with LEDs, you can vary that. There's actually a switch you can change the kelvins. Okay. Let's see. Billy Bird says, you're awesome. Thank you. We're going to wrap up here. Thank you again for these streams. Going to send this to my friends in Lewiston, Idaho. Great. If you're in the Idaho area and you want to kind of see what we're doing here on a homestead, give me a call. And my phone number is on my store. If you have questions, give me a call. And I would be glad to have you come over and take a look at the greenhouse or what we're doing with the solar and the hand pump on the well and so forth. You know what we do here. EMB attack could be fatal for all nuke plants. Could be. I think the nuclear power plants are pretty well protected. Let's see, what's your son's company again? It's techprotectbags.com. Or you just go to ldsprepper.com, ldsprepperstore.com, click on the portable solar generator link, and that'll take you to his store. Let's see, alcohol is easy to make, not a great prep item. Really better barter anyway. All right, so we are at the bottom of the list. Thank you very much. I hope you have a blessed day, that you have a great weekend, that your team, whoever that is, I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl. I don't watch professional sports, so I don't know. But I hope your team wins and that you have a great weekend. Work on getting yourself prepared for whatever situation may come. You never know when you may be unemployed or in an automobile accident or in a hurricane like we were in Texas, or in wildfires like we were in Washington and California. You never know when you're going to need something, and you'll be very, very grateful when you do have it. If you want to be off grid, it's going to be solar, it's going to be battery backup, and it's going to be a generator, and you need to have fuel for that generator to run. I recommend having at least a dual or tri-fuel generator. You can run it on gasoline, propane, or natural gas. You guys are wonderful. I will be putting links down below to my son's website, to my store, to anything else. I'll review this video and put down links down there to give you guys the best pricing, and that will help support this channel. God bless you. God bless you in your righteous efforts, and may we bless other people's lives also. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. Have a great day.